Oh, and you also want to mute the live so that you don't hear yourself like last time, remember?
No, I don't know how to do.
Very easy.
And we're in the wrong format.
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it?
You just click on Zoom and then you go back to that.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Leonard Duncan, your host of the morning show with Danny Ray Duncan. How are you, Danny?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for joining in. I know that you're traveling and made it a little more difficult for you today, but I know that you got here and we appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. We went to Monster Trucks last night. Got to see some high flying monster trucks. It was a lot of fun. My boys absolutely loved it, and that's why we went.
Is Gravedigger the hit of the show, or was it somebody else?
It was Son of a Digger. Gravedigger was pretty good, but it was Son of a Digger. There was a guy called the Avenger who went high flying in the air and almost took out Gravedigger. It was awesome. So they did backflips. They did their cartwheels, all this stuff. You know, it was a lot of fun.
Back when you were Charles and Danny's age, when they would get those trucks off the ground, the wheels would break off. So the stuff they're doing with them now is just incredible.
Yeah, they jumped that thing like 50, 60 feet. I mean, easily.
Well, the technology's changed, the shocks, the way they build the frames. You know, who thought that they would take a Ford pickup back in the old days and put a army truck undercarriage underneath it and it would turn into this.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy.
And in my opinion, Bigfoot's still the king.
Yeah. Yeah. They have some cool trucks though. Let me tell you, Charles can't decide which one he likes the most. He loves Gravedigger, of course, but you know, he still can't decide which one he likes. And they have Megalodon, which is like a giant shark. And baby Danny calls it the blue fish and loves the blue fish. Blue fish.
Hey, that's what it's all about. So, yeah. You know what? Let's get into it. Most of the drivers that I've seen are ladies too, aren't they?
There was only one lady last night.
Only one last night?
Yeah, there's getting to be more and more female drivers. Like the Scooby-Doo truck is a female driver. We went a couple months ago to a different monster truck arena series, and there's one called the Veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lady driving, and it was her husband is a Special Force Army Green Beret, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Special Forces in the military of some sort. And he got deployed last minute, and so she drove the truck for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was one of the coolest trucks I've seen.
What episode was Shay in that we did the monster truck? Do you remember? So yeah, we did a monster truck episode. Love to do more. It's just sometimes it's hard to get through everybody's media blocks, you know, because they just think you're some groupie fan or whatever. They don't understand that we're
Is she the one that drives the Scooby-Doo truck?
I think it was. She drove an ATV. Bailey Shea Williams.
Inspired episode 16.
Inspired episode 16. So if you go to check it, Inspired episode 16, you can check out Bailey Shea Williams, a monster truck driver. Awesome young lady. Let's just get into it. The title of the episode is Injuries Are Taking Over, and they are, especially in Supercross. You know, we've I might as well just say it. Star Yamaha suffered a huge hit last night. You got to see it live, I'm assuming, Danny?
No, I actually got home last night from Monster Trucks, and we just put the boys to bed, and I started looking up what happened with Supercross, and I was like, where's Tomac's name on this? What the heck's going on? And I couldn't find his name, and then I found it at 22, and I was like, the heck? And come to find out, yeah, he tore his Achilles. I mean, just fluke accident. I mean, it sucks. I mean, Barsha should be up there. I mean, the guy was being crazy fast here at the end. Breaks his collarbone last weekend, done for the year.
No, he's got
Webb,
collarbone, shoulder, and ribs.
yeah, broke 2 ribs as well. Yeah. And then you got Webb, his fluke accident puts him out for the rest of the year. Now Tomac with his accident.
Jason
I mean, the three
Anderson's
top
out too.
Anderson's out with some broken vertebrae in his back. It's just fluke. Christian Craig's out, Mookie's out. Colt Nichols got hurt last night, I guess. So everybody's kind of just injured this year. And even in the 250 class, there's a lot of injuries, it seems like, too. I'm trying to think of the kid's name that rides for Cowie. Number 30. Oh my gosh. I
can't pronounce his name. But yeah, the Japanese guy.
Yeah, he just came back. I mean, he lit it up last weekend. And so there's just a lot of injuries this year. And Supercross, I feel like everything. I mean, my question is this, because not to get into the MotoGP thing too quickly, but with the MotoGP injuries on top of the dirt bike injuries, on top of the ATV industry and injuries, are we to a level to where we're outriding our machines and our machines need to take the next step?
You could be at that level. I think the machines are extremely good. Maybe the machines are so good that our riders can't keep up with them. They're being able to do things that their minds and bodies just can't do. You look at the technology changes in suspension and tires and the engines, in the 450 class, those things are just monsters. The average everyday person almost can't ride a 450.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you built the 450 for the Dirt Bike magazine or whatever, my Honda, that thing was a rocket ship and it didn't even have any motor work done to it. It just had a vortex and an exhaust on it.
And it was too much.
It was too much. And in the desert, it was fine, but anywhere else, it was just way too much.
Well, it was our skill level too. I mean, I'd get on that 250 and could jump the jumps and ride it and go through the whoops and have a ball. But every time I got on that 450, it was like, oh crap, where am I going to go? Where am I going to end up? Because you cracked the throttle and it just took off.
Yeah.
So, I do not believe the machines are, are subpar in any way, shape, or form. I believe the level of the machines has gotten so good that they're now doing things and traveling speeds that their minds and bodies almost can't keep up with. I think in MotoGP, if we're going to curve off a little bit, maybe you have some tire technology that's not keeping up. Maybe they're cutting corners on some of that because it's looking like they're having issues with grip, causing some of the, some of the crashes. You also have, if we're going to talk about it, we might as well get into it. The hypocrisy of the MotoGP people is unbelievable. You got a 6-time champ that gets ridiculed for racing hard, trying to win. That's what the whole objective is, to win. If you're not there to win, you should pack your shit and go home. Excuse my language. And they're downing him because he's trying to take a bike that might not be competitive and pushing it to the front. And a mistake happened. He takes Oliveira out. He didn't do it intentionally. He was trying to win. He was trying to get to the front. Maybe it was a little early, but he can't let those guys get away on a bike that doesn't go that fast. Now you have Fabio Quantiero, who's on a bike that's got problems too, and he's trying to push to the front, and he takes Oliveira out, and everybody just says, oh, accidents happen. No, if you're going to bust one guy's balls, bust the other guy's balls. And it happened in round 1, it happened in round 2, it happened in round 3, round 4. Somebody's taken somebody out early in a wreck, and the only guy that gets chastised is Marquez. I'm sorry, Marquez is probably the greatest MotoGP rider of all time. Yeah, I know the Rossi fans are turning over and flipping out because Rossi is phenomenally good. You can't take anything away from him right now. Stat-wise, he's the best. But Marquez, gosh, the guy is so unbelievably talented. And when Rossi is not talking with his angst against Marquez, he knows how good he is. He did things that Rossi never did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into an argument with you about something that I don't know a ton about. I will say that the stat lines and everything you read say that Rossi is the best, and Marquez still has a little bit to go. I mean,
I can't argue
if he'll ever get there, we don't know.
No, you don't, because of the injuries, because of some of the things that have happened with Honda. Right now that they're saying the surgeon is keeping him off the track because if his hand doesn't heal right, he's done for good.
Yeah.
So,
I want to go back to something you said about tire technology. I don't think, especially in MotoGP, it's ever them chintzing out or not doing it. I just don't know if we have the technology to keep up with the rest of the machine to make those tires sticky like you would think. I don't see them. That's probably the most important component of that bike is those tires. I just don't see them not producing and not studying those tires to make sure that they're correct.
Maybe the compound they picked for the race is wrong. Maybe it's off, and you're right. The machines are too powerful. Look at passenger cars and street bikes. The technology in the tires and the suspension and the development of the machines has allowed the general consumer to do things in automobiles and on street bikes that they never could have without this technology getting better and better and better. You're watching guys on the street riding motorcycles over 100 miles an hour or even more. And I know it's stupid and crazy, but the tire technology is keeping them on the ground. They're riding them in the rain, they're riding them over the white line, and they're not having these issues where people in their minivans are going 90 miles an hour on the freeway, swerving in and out of traffic. A bunch of that is tire technology is allowing these people to drive at a higher level that they're not qualified to, but the vehicles have gotten so much better that society is allowed to do these things. You bring it back to motocross. Man, the talent in these guys is so good, and they're splitting hairs to compete and to beat a guy like Tomac or to beat a guy like Chase, to beat a guy like Roxon. You have to put
You
it
forgot
all
one,
out
the
there.
most important one.
Huh?
You forgot the most important one, Cooper Webb.
Sorry, Cooper. But you throw them all in there. I know he's your favorite, so biasy there. You throw them all in there, and their talent level is so high that you have to look at, they're trying to squeeze every inch out of that machine, and it's pretty incredible stuff that they're doing it. Unfortunately, that brings on injuries. Chad Wienen trying to squeak out that little bit of extra at almost 39 years old to beat the younger Joel Hetrick, who's basically a phenom in the ATV industry now. And they get in a wreck in the first turn, and unfortunately Chad takes it, gets a broken collarbone. The guy must be superhuman because he gets a gusset on his collarbone, comes back and races 3 weeks later and leads one of the motos. Medical technology is also increasing.
Yeah.
Jacob Stevens got injured and had to go under the knife because the therapy didn't work. So Friday, Jacob went under the knife and got surgery on his shoulder. Other riders like Logan Huff have had it done, and it took a long time to recover. There's a couple others. I apologize for not rattling your names off, but those injuries are detrimental. They take almost a year to recover from.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're saying about Tomac too. That's what makes me so sad about Tomac is he going to come back? That is the question. Are we ever going to be graced with the presence of Eli Tomac on a motorcycle again? 6 months minimum.
Other race motorcycles. Can you find her? What's her name? I don't remember.
6 months minimum on that Achilles, and he was already flirting with retirement. Does this just push him over the edge, or does the competitive nature of him and just who he is as a person push him to want to not let that be the end. And I'm
Would you
hoping
go out on an injury
no.
like that a recoverable one?
Is it recoverable though? Like, I mean, that's the thing is you think about motorcycles. We're talking about the only time that we talk about Achilles is mainly football, NFL.
Yeah,
That's and you know, like that's when we talk about the recovery time. We're not talking about putting pressure on your ankle over and over again at the speeds that they are on a motorcycle, jumping 20, 30, 40 feet in the air and coming down on it. Is that recoverable? I mean, I don't know. I'm not the surgeon.
Yeah, I think that you're going to have to see. I mean, I don't know a lot about any other sport with Achilles. I know that Dan Marino walked for a limp for a long time when he came back. You know, it affected his play. Other guys have came back and you never even knew that they had the problem. So I don't know. I cannot honestly answer it either. We'll just have to see how it rolls. All of these injuries for all of these guys could be career ending. Webb, from what I talked to a professional boxer about concussions, Jimmy Brown, and a retired professional boxer. The concussions are a huge issue. When you got a guy off the bike, that's the wrong lady. When you got a guy off the bike for 6 to 8 weeks with a head injury, they have to see how many concussions he's had. They have to do the scans. They have to know what's going on. Cooper Webb could never ride a motorcycle again.
He'll ride again.
I'm just saying, you know.
I don't think this isn't Cooper hasn't had, correct me if I'm wrong, internet, but Cooper hasn't had that many head injuries that I know of or that we've seen that he needs to be out 6 to 8 weeks. They said 2 to 3 weeks when
I just watched the video yesterday.
He's off for 6 weeks.
He's going to miss most of the beginning, and he'll come in for the end if they release him
for outdoor moto. Really? Well, that means Jet Lawrence is going to probably win outdoors.
Is he going 450?
Yeah, he's going 450.
Well, you can't take anything away from Chase. I mean, Jet's got a little bit of transition period. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. I don't know. You know,
I don't
know.
This will be the only title that Chase Sexton ever wins.
I'm not going to argue that. You know, I think he's a mental marshmallow. He could fall off next round, even though
Roxon can win the title.
No, Roxon can't gain enough points to pass him.
Tomac is going to wrap up his ankle and he's going to go out there and he's just going to finish it.
Well, hey, so if Roxon came out, if Tomac came out and rode and finished in the top 10 and Saxton crashed and DNF'd, Tomac wins the title.
Yeah. I mean, how do you have a guy who won 8 of the 16 races not win the title? I mean, I'm floored with that. Like, the guy put on a clinic this year. You were talking about clinic with Joel Hedrick earlier. I mean,
I don't think he put on a clinic, dude. He rode really well, you know. And how many races? And Saxton gave him how many races? Saxton gave him 4 races.
No, Tomac wasn't behind him with those. He
was. All the videos I've seen where the guy throws it on the ground and Tomac passes him and takes the lead.
Yeah, but 8 wins, Dad. 8.
I get it, son.
He's second.
Number one. You're
second on the depth chart on most wins of all time. Right behind, you know who, McGrath. Ahead of the greatest racer of all time, Ricky Carmichael.
Dude, let me tell you, your broken heart's not going to heal because, you know, Tomac's not coming back.
Yeah, so, well, I hope he comes back, but
I mean, this year he's not coming back.
Yeah,
I mean, you have those 5 guys right there. There's 6 guys with Craig. That's potential freaking career enders.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I
Craig's
haven't looked into.
got to learn how to use his arm again.
I mean, Roxon did it.
Yeah, but Roxon, I think, has an inner drive that not most people are going to come up with. So we've hashed that out enough. F1, we talk about Formula One, and it's a huge form of racing all over the world. These guys get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they drive cars that are just state of the art in so many ways. They could be rocket ships. Nobody has given this guy any credit, and nobody's given this guy the just due. Sergio Perez is quietly becoming the dominant guy in F1, even though his team principal Horner is trying to destroy him and not let him have the quality car, not giving him the options to go out and race against Max Weiner Verstappen, however you say his last name. Yeah, you can tell I just have disdain for that single-time champ. I really just can't stand that guy. My bias is he's a single-time champ. And let's clarify that in 2021, they went over budget, and that 2021 is when they did the rule at the end of the race to give him to take the title away from Hamilton, who rightfully so won it. We can argue it, but I'm not going to change my opinion. That being said, I had to correct that. Sergio Perez, that guy deserves a fan base and some accolades, because he is coming through the field. He just fast qualifier, put it on the pole, and is doing everything he needs to do to be the guy.
Does he have title shot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
How close are the points?
You know what? That's the only thing I didn't bring up with the F1 points. Verstappen's won 2 races, maybe 3, and Sergio has won 1, maybe 2, 1 for sure. But he's finished in the front, so yeah, he has a shot. I mean, they race so many races that you get 2 or 3 throwouts almost to.
Why? Question for you: why would any organization or owner of a team want to suppress one of their drivers?
Money.
Yeah. Who's the other driver on his team?
Verstappen.
Okay. Why would they?
That's probably funneling a ton of money into the program.
I just can't imagine, just from the motorcycle and quad industry that I know, I just couldn't imagine anybody. Would you, if you had Eichner and let's just say Tavis Kane back in the day on a works bikes doing work series, and they were going back and forth 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 all day long, all year long, would you suppress one of them?
Nope. Let them
you
race.
Just let them. What?
The only thing I would tell them is if you take each other out, there will be disciplinary actions. Other than that, you're free to race.
Yeah, let them run, let them ride. I just, we're in a consumer business. I mean, as much as people want to say it's entertainment, it's consumer as well. I mean, the consumer wants to watch guys battle it out and wants to see the good guy, or not the good, but the way you put it is good versus bad. But the new and up and coming and the underdogs, people want to see that underdog story and want to see that guy come up and excel and propel, and and I just don't understand as an owner why you would try and suppress that.
I don't think there's politics involved. There's things behind the scenes that we don't get to see with money. They're doing all kinds of different stuff that you just don't know anything. We just don't know.
Yeah. You pay a guy $1 million to go win a race. You want him to go win the race. You want to give him everything you can to go and win that race. And so that's just I
don't know why they do it. I really don't know why they do it. It's something that I don't think that we'll ever fathom or understand, because we don't have the gazillions of dollars that they do. I mean, their team budget is $140 million. And in 2020, I believe there was no limit on how much money they could spend. And it was the cheap team spent 95 million and the lead team spent 495 million. Okay. $500 million, really? To race cars. You know,
I just want one of their sponsors. Just one sponsor, you know.
well, let's talk about sponsors. We have to have huge shout out to GBC tires. Hey, these guys, they take really good care of us. They help us bring these episodes to you. Elka suspension, phenomenal. They have champions. They've won races and hold titles in everything ATV. They're getting into trucks, UTVs, everything. So check those guys out as well. And DBR, they're a new sponsor. Got to thank Chris for coming on board and helping us out. You know, we really appreciate everybody in the ATV industry watching our podcast and our shows grow. And got to thank them. You know, everybody behind me. These people are all doing things to make it happen for us. So huge shout out to those guys and everything they do to help grow the industry. We've got to cover the Supercross a little bit. You know, last deal, the title is basically over. Saxton's going to win. Roxon has a chance to go too if he has a great race. Saxton doesn't even have to ride to be number one.
Yeah. I think that disappoints me the most. I mean, you had a series that realistically all year long has been neck and neck. At one point, Cooper Webb and Tomac were tied in points. And then it went to 3 points, 6 points, 11 points difference, then back down to 9 points. I mean, they were going back and forth all year. And then 2 fluke weekends, 2 fluke accidents, and you know, the whole dynamic changes. I personally, if I was Chase Sexton, I mean, he said it himself, this isn't the way he wanted to win his title. He wants to actually win a title. Even if I was Sexton, I would not feel like I won this title. I feel like it was handed to me with all the injuries on the backside. And, you know, that just makes me sad. But Hunter and Jet Lawrence in the 250 class, they won and earned their titles. I mean, something that doesn't happen very often is this Honda sweeping.
Let me stop you right there. Chase earned his title too. Okay, yeah, there were some injuries, but did he show up at the race? Did he race all the races? Has he done everything he's supposed to do? Did he keep it upright? Did he finish?
He didn't keep it upright, no.
Well, not all of them, but did he stay close enough to frickin' be the guy?
He did not earn this title.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
First, you must finish finish. Period.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, a fluke injury is not an earn of a title. I mean, you cannot tell me as a racer, you yourself, you would feel like you earned this title with the fluke accident that happened to Eli Tomac last night.
The point I was making. That's not the point I was making. The point I was making is he's the lone survivor. He earned it.
Yeah, because Barsha went out, Webb went out, Tomac went out.
I get it.
Roxon was out for a little bit. Adam Cianciarulo was out for a little bit. You know,
I get it.
Anderson's out. I don't dislike Chase. I don't want people to think I dislike him. I just think that this series and this year was the best racing I've seen in years. Like I mean, I love Supercross, so every year is a new year and a new adventure, but you know, it came down to number 1 and number 2, Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb, and both of them have fluke accidents, and that's what gave Chase this title. And he doesn't feel like he earned it. The fans probably don't feel like he earned it. I'm happy for him. I like Chase. He seems like a good kid. I think he should get rid of the frosted tips and be a little bit more professional, but you know,
in 100 years, nobody's going to remember.
No, they're going to remember too. Tomac and Webb, though.
They're not going to be an asterisk next to the title. It's going to be what it is. So,
well, Hunter Lawrence and Jet Lawrence both earned their titles, and Honda swept all 3 classes for the first time in a long time.
Congratulations to Honda. Let's see how they can do next year, or let's see
how
you're
a Honda guy.
I am a Honda guy, just not happy with the way Honda runs their program anymore. But that's a whole nother whiny little where's our freaking new fuel injected ATV, man? Come on. What's up wrong? What's up, Honda? You got no balls? You're not going to bring it out. You'll sell everything you build and more, and you're just not doing it. You're just not there. What's going on? Same with Kawasaki, same with Suzuki. What's wrong with you guys?
Kawasaki and Suzuki came out with theirs.
No, they don't have a 450 quad.
They did.
Yeah.
Suzuki can't bring theirs over.
They can if they would freaking make amends, but they won't. And they're selling little cars in other countries and making more money doing that than ATVs. I get it.
That's your answer right there.
Kawasaki, well, Honda's freaking building jets and other things. So that's neither here nor there. Cross country, XC. Bryson Neal back on top, dominating performance yesterday in Indiana, the Hoosier, and did really well. Kicked butt. I think that guy has followed Walker Fowler long enough that he knows the ins and outs, knows how to train. He's connected with Phoenix now. And, Phoenix has got the number one guy in cross country and the number one guy in ATV MX. So.
What were you saying about a penalty?
Yeah, so we could talk about that. The last round, Bryson Neal passed for the lead. And in doing so, if I don't have the story wrong, he took a line that took him 3 feet out of bounds. I believe he was already in the lead when he did this. Okay. His argument was there were already tire tracks through that line previously. Nobody else got disqualified. Plus, he won the race by 3 minutes. Okay. That one incident did not cause him to lose the race. Nothing against anybody else that raced, nothing against Hunter Hart, who got the victory and the points lead at that point. But the rules are the rules. If you deviate from the rule, it's a 2-position penalty in the rule book. It was brought to the officials' attention and they had to enforce it.
I think that's a little tic-tac, nicky-knack bullshit.
For the integrity of this series, what do you do?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you're the hard line guy. Like you said last weekend, you want to draw a line in the sand and nobody can cross it. I think personally, I mean, if you go out there and you get your butt kicked by 3 minutes, just don't say anything. That 10 seconds, you still get beat by 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Like, if it's even 10 seconds, it's on the high end.
I'll bet you that line didn't give him but a half a second advantage, basically.
Yeah, I think that's kind of ticky-tack, and I think that's kind of bullshit. I mean, personally, at Works, I don't know the rules of GNCC, but at Works, we had, if the main line is bottled up, we could go outside.
If it's bottled up. The whole deal is Bryson Neal was leading the race in his first lap, clear field. Clear line of sight, nobody, no obstruction. Saw
how many times did he take that line?
Huh?
How many did he take that line every lap?
One lap, one time.
He only did it one time.
Yep. They blocked it off afterwards, I believe.
Why? My question is they see that somebody's tires are going through there. There's tire marks going through there. They see it. Okay. Before the race even happens, why would they not block it off before the race instead of after first lap?
You'd have to ask the officials. I have no contact with them, so I can't get clarification. And a fan is the one that brought the videotape to the officials.
Yeah, Hunter's a great kid. I met him at the Huevos thing, and he doesn't seem like he would cry over spilt milk. So
it wasn't a racer that brought the attention to it. It was a fan.
That's just weird. I mean, just let them race. You're there to watch. Stay out of it. Like
I feel bad. I feel bad, but then again, I am the hardline guy. The rules are the rules. If you're going to have rules, you need to enforce them. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say the fans should stay out of it, because the fans are why we do it. But I think that's just so ticky tack. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, if you see somebody like doing something extremely illegal, like cutting like 150 feet off the course or whatever, then sure, say something. But 3 feet? If it's really 3 feet? I mean, if it's more than 3 feet.
Well, they give you 25 feet, the width of the quad, the outside tire crosses the line, you're cheating.
Yeah.
But hey, Bryson Neal got back into the lead. He won this weekend in Indiana, took over the point lead and, ran away with it. Great race. But here is the thing that we really got to talk about. Adam McGill on a Honda took second. The old man who's been running, top 5 all year, brought it into the number 2 spot. John Galata Jr. got third and did amazing by putting himself there as well, who's also coming back from an illness. Go ahead.
What place did Hunter get?
Fourth.
I do like that kid. That kid is, when we did the Huevos thing, he was funny. He was nice. He did really good as well. I'm super happy for Neil, and I wish, is Walker coming back soon? Is he going to race any of the he's done for the year, but is he going to race next year?
No, we can end it early.
I'm not sure, Danny. I'm not sure. Huge shout out to Jessica Elioff. Danny, can you keep talking?
Yes. So I think that I would like to see, and I'm sure all the fans would like to see, Neil versus Walker Fowler. Walker is another guy. He has 7 titles, I believe, now. It would be extremely interesting for him to come out and see how they race against each other after Neil has his title. At this time, I'm not sure exactly what's going on the other end, but give a shout out to the sponsors again. GBC Tire, thank you for all of your support. Elka, thank you for coming on and helping. SSI Decals, Fatboy 4 Exhaust, Duncan Racing, and JSR. This show came about because there's not a lot of motorsports out there, conversations out there about Supercross, ATVs, and dirt bikes and as a whole. And it would be cool if we could get on to some type of network, or even just doing it here on YouTube, to get it out there and get more people to be able to become a part of the sport. I think that it is growing, and it needs to just grow just a little bit more. Valeria, you right there?
Yeah, we're having some issues, but Leonardo will be right back.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody. Got that taken care of. Again, sorry about that. Jessica Elioff and Hannah Hunter, man, those two are having a battle. And if you've got to see anything about Hannah is super fast. And I got to talk to Jessica, got her first year in the WXC, and she's just learning. Her husband raced, and now she is becoming a dominant force. Osborne is running, ran second. Hannah got third, and Tracy Pickett, the multi-time women's champ. This lady's rocking. I think she's won 12 titles, she got fourth, and she's been running third or fourth all year. So they're having a good battle in that class. You got to keep your eye on them because those ladies rock.
That's awesome. It's always good to see, the woman's side of things getting more competitive as well.
Well, Andrea Berger, the 3-time MX champ,
yeah,
rode, and I think she got ninth.
Really? She
Yeah.
She hasn't rode in years.
Well, no, Andrea took part of the MX season off, and I know she liked Ironman, and I believe Ironman is going to be their next round for motocross. So
Okay.
she was there doing a little bit of pre-race, get ready, get used to it. So that was great. Andrea is a 3-time MX champion, so she's no slouch.
I guess I was getting her confused with somebody else. I apologize.
That's okay, dude. That's okay. Andrea Berger was last week's episode on the podcast, or this week's episode. Sorry, because the week starts today. But it's pretty cool. We're going to be covering flat track motorcycle racing this coming week on the podcast with a young lady from Southern California. So you should check that out. I think you're really going to really enjoy that.
What is flat track racing?
Flat track motorcycle racing is done on ovals, or they do some TT stuff. You wear a special steel shoe to keep your boot from catching on the ground as you slide through the corners. Some of the riders can manipulate without putting their feet down. Others can't. I've got to do it. Grandpa's got to do it. I don't think you got to ride any flat track bikes, Danny. I
raced my CR80 there, but it wasn't.
Yeah, we didn't put a shoe. You didn't have a shoe or anything.
No.
Bike or motocross bike and a flat track.
Good question. So a motocross bike is long travel, knobbies, fenders covering the front and rear. You're going over jumps, rough terrain, where a flat track machine is set up on a smooth oval. Some turns are banked, most of them are flat, and it's high speed with a Class C style traction, or a, for lack of a better word, a dirt style street smooth tire. It's got a smoother knobby fashion. The compound will grip the dirt better. Most of the courses get like a blue groove, which is a blue groove is rubber laid down on the hard dirt. And these machines will drift through the turns, and they're lower, less travel. They generally don't run front fenders. Some of the versions do special tanks and seats to allow the riders to maneuver on them. It's pretty awesome. If you've ever got to watch it or ever get to watch it, you should, because these people are talented. And this young lady that's coming on the show is an up and comer in Southern California, and she races against the men because they're more aggressive. You're talking about a 16, 17-year-old girl that weighs all of 95 pounds, and she's out there banging bars with these grown men, on 450s. It's pretty impressive to watch.
Sounds like my daughter.
She's not a pro, but she's moving up. And we just like to find people like that we can talk about and let everybody in on their style of racing. So that's going to be upcoming. We'll see how things go with the Supercross. Yeah, that is true, Valeria. That's great strat. American flat track motorcycles started in the 1920s and 30s, and just gained popularity around the world, because if you look at MotoGP, all of those guys have flat track bikes that race flat track in Europe as well. Marquez, Rossi still does it, and others. They're always out there honing their skills. If you look at some of the techniques that they use in MotoGP, that comes from the flat track world. where they're able to drift the machines through the turns. Bagnaia, number one. I watched him use his elbow as an outrigger to manipulate his machine, not because he was going down, but it was helping him slide through the turn on his MotoGP bike instead of using his leg, which is, it's kind of like a Marquez trademark where you can use that elbow to stabilize yourself. So all of these techniques are coming from this style of racing that started in the United States back in the 30s, 20s and 30s on machines that they raced with no brakes. So you gotta get them sideways to slow them down. Kind of crazy stuff, the big twins or the Maltese. Kenny Roberts was a guy in the US that was just phenomenally fast. And would a MotoGP bike beat an F1 car? Wow. I doubt it. The MotoGP bike would be quicker out of the hole in your acceleration probably, and gain an advantage. But overall, as they carried momentum through, man, I would have to say the car's probably faster.
Nope.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think the bike would win?
Yeah, turns tighter.
Fat turns in the tight turns, it would turn faster, but in the
Yeah.
big broad turns, the car's going to go faster.
Yes and no. I think personally, you can look at top speeds about the same. It's all about maneuvering, and it's a lot easier to maneuver that motorcycle than it is that car.
I'm gonna beg to freaking not answer the question because I don't know. As much as I love motorcycles,
I bet you Rossi, not Marquez, just Rossi could beat the F1 car.
You know what? I believe that there is a simulated story that they did on this. I'll have to do some research, and next show that we do, we'll have an answer on that and give everybody the link information. We will be missing next Sunday. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to do our next morning show. We have an obligation next Sunday that we can't miss. We'll also be in Arizona on Saturday doing a story on three-wheelers. So that'll come out on YouTube as well. We have lots of things planned. Valeria is kicking it into overdrive over here and getting me back on track and making sure that we develop new stories and new things for the listeners and for the YouTube portion of the channel as well, as it grows. I know, Danny, you brought in some ideas for us. So we're working on that. We need to get into some cross-country motorcycles and talk about those guys because they're not getting the coverage they deserve. Also, desert on the West Coast is having some issues, and I know the Baja guys are doing well, making an effort.
I do want to, because next Sunday we are not going to be here on the show, I do want to give a shout out to all the mothers on Mother's Day early and just say thank you. Without you guys, we would not be here and be able to do this show. And thank you to the moms who support their kids getting into motorsports. I know my wife personally, with my 2 young boys, she's super supportive. She did not grow up on motorcycles as much as I did. And, it's a little scary being a mom watching her 4-year-old go out there. We went to a skate park yesterday and Charles was jumping and riding his Stasic all over the park. And it can be nerve wracking even for me as a dad. So thank you to all the mothers for going out there and supporting and really helping grow the sport as well. Because we know women run the world. Let's be honest. If my wife tells me no to something, it most likely won't happen.
We also have a Mother's Day episode that you can check out in Inspired. It's an Inspired episode that we did a year or so back. check that out on your old episodes. You can find those on Spotify and Apple, multiple other audio podcast platforms. So July will be our 3rd year anniversary. And so we have a special episode that we're working on for that. I think everybody's really going to enjoy it. They've been asking and asking when this was going to happen. So we're bringing it to you in July on our 3rd year anniversary. No, I'm not going to tell you who it is because it's a teaser, you know. I think that it'll make a lot of people happy. I know it does me because it's a special individual. So I know you'll enjoy it at any rate. Joel Hetrick in the ATV MX. Not enough can be said about the guy. He's phenomenally fast. He just put on a clinic at the last round. We'll see how he does in the Ironman race in Indiana. And that'll be the next round for the ATV MX. Works is racing. They haven't started racing yet this morning, but they're rolling here in a couple hours. They're at Glen Helen in California, so that's going to be a good round. Bo Barron usually does really, really good. You'll have to check out the works. They have some really fast guys on the motorcycle side, which we need to cover them next time as well, Danny, because we haven't done any coverage of the Works motorcycle people or the UTV classes that they have. Works is a West Coast series that does ATVs, motorcycles, and UTVs. Randy Perry owns that series, and he's doing a great job, keeping us racing and getting new venues. It's tough on the West Coast. They close everything down, so he's probably having to work triple overtime to even get races.
Yeah. Well,
did you see anything else besides Supercross that needed to be talked about with any of the racing that's covered?
No, not this week. I did not. It's
oh, you know what? We forgot to talk about Hampshire. He won his first race of the year.
Yeah, RJ Hampshire, yeah. So anybody who watches Supercross, the funny thing is he had a chance to still stay in title contention, and they had that mutter a few weeks ago, and he went in super hard on Jet, and then just boom, fell down in the mud and I think he ended up finishing like 16th or something like that, because he in the last corner just went full send and almost fell, or almost took out Jet and then fell himself. And but I'm super happy for that kid. He just signed a 2-year extension with Husqvarna, I think. I'm not sure if he's going 450 or not. He did race a 450 a few weeks ago, and did it a few months ago, I should say, maybe. And he did pretty dang well.
Do you think him switching to Husky hurt him?
No, I do not.
Well, didn't he run up front more on the Yamaha last year?
I don't think he rode a Yamaha last year. I'm pretty sure he rode Hampshire's been on Husky for a couple of years now.
No, he rode a Yamaha last year. I could have swore.
You have your phone right there. Look it up. I'm pretty sure he rode for Husky last year.
I don't even know how to spell his name.
RJ Hampshire. Craig switched from Yamaha to Husky, but I don't think Hampshire did.
It doesn't give you his it doesn't give you what he rode last year.
Well, we will find that out and have it on next week's episode.
I hope you're taking notes, Danny. Oh, there's a picture of the mutter.
Yeah, he just slid in there and fell down, and he couldn't get back up.
Yeah, I think F1's racing right now, if it's not already over. I hope Sergio Perez did well. Verstappen was on 9th on the grid, and Hamilton was 13th. And when it comes to Hamilton, he needs to worry about racing his car instead of American politics, because runs his mouth and then gets 13th on the grid. Come on, guys. You're a race car driver. Nobody gives you crap about your political opinion, especially if you're British and you're talking about American policy.
That's a whole nother story for another time.
It's a no conversation, no politics. But we do have to talk about this. The three-wheeler industry is being hit with the Consumer Protection Agency is clamping down on the modern day three-wheeler guys that are building conversions and things like that. And they're putting them out of business. And I just think it's a freaking crying shame. There was a bill proposed on the lead thing with kids, and it was something about no three-wheelers can be manufactured. So racing use only. These guys are building recreational models and they're getting shut down. So what the fans in Europe that are listening, there's some series that Valeria is asking us here if we should cover, Euro off-road racing series, the BTCC, International GT Open, things like that. The outdoor motocross that they have there, Danny, I know that you get to see it every once in a while. Those guys are phenomenally fast. You have the British Championship with the ATVs. Harry Walker is a friend of ours. He does really well over there. Kevin Saar from over in Europe is racing in the States. And he is pretty fast over there. Dylan, we spoke to him. He's from Ireland. He was on the podcast. He races the British Championship. He's done really well. And why am I drawing a blank on the guy that's super fast over there right now? But I reached out to him. He doesn't speak English. I would love to have got him on the show, but unfortunately he doesn't speak English. So there are multiple things that we can talk about in the next 2 weeks. It'll give us plenty of time to answer the questions and come back with some decent answers. If you have tips or anything, leave them in the comment section. If there's certain series that you want to hear about or a specific individual in any type of motorsport, we can do some research and bring you that information. Danny, do you have anything in closing?
No, just thank you guys for watching and share the show. So that way we can build and get more sponsors and hopefully get you guys to the point to where we can host this maybe more than just once every Sunday.
Please subscribe and share with your friends, and make sure that if you're going to buy tires, buy them from GBC. If you need shocks, Elka is a championship winning brand, and DBR also has some amazing products. Go to their website and check them out, as well as our other sponsors behind me. Thank you so much and have an amazing Sunday, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.